Okay, hello, I am two students. This morning we will start with our module 8.1. It's on solving equation by factoring. So this expression here is called our quadratic equation or quadratic expression. Content standard. Use the structure of an expression to identify ways to rewrite it. Language objective. I will be able to explain to a partner how to solve the equation x squared minus 6x minus 16 equal to 0. So by the end of the lesson, we all should know how to solve this equation. Right? Okay, so here we say explore with tiles. So when we say tile, what we want you to think is term of this. So when we have this bar, it means it's an x. And when we have a square, this is our x squared. And the letter square with a plus means that this is a positive 1. And the letter square with a negative, this is a negative 1. Okay, so let's explore with tiles. So let's say, for example, we have the quantity of x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 2. And we have learned from the previous module that we can use FOIL to work this out. All right, so first, let's start with FOIL. So for FOIL, we can say x times x is x squared. X times a positive 2 is the positive 2x. And negative 3 times x is the negative 3x. And negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. And now combine like terms, we have an x squared minus x minus 6. Okay, so now let's try one with using the tile. Right, so for the tile, let's say we have this part. So this is times. So we have the expression x minus 3 and then x plus 2. Right, so then we said x times x is x squared, so we have an x squared. And x times negative 3, so they give us negative 3x. That means we have negative 3 of these. And then our next part is we have 2 times x, so that means we have 2 positive of these. And x times negative 3, so we have a negative 6, so say we have a negative, negative, negative. Right, and then we see, well, when we see that a positive x and negative x, they cancel out. And a positive x, negative x, they cancel out. So then we're left with our x squared minus 1x minus 6. So we see that this expression and this expression are the same. Okay, so then let's go on to the next slide. So try these with tiles. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to try this out. So you may solve this by using a tile, or you may work this out using the FOIL. It's up to you. So I'll give you guys a minute to work this out before I'll give you the answers. Okay, or if you prefer to use FOIL, so you have x squared minus 4x equals a positive x, and a minus 4, combining like terms, so we have x squared minus 3x minus 4. So this answer and this answer are the same. Okay, these are the answer to our tile exploration. So check your answers. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. See that using algebra tile to factors, right? And since you're at home, you might not have algebra tile at home, so you can use what I should show you. Use a little square to indicate 1, the little square with a minus to indicate a -1, and a longer or rectangular chip to be x, a rectangular chip with a -1, -x, and the square mean x squared, and so on. Right? So we see that the tiles needed to model the expression x squared plus 7x plus 6 are these tiles in red. So we have 1 square, 7x tiles, and 6 unit tiles. Right? So for B, we see that we want to rearrange and draw the algebraic tile on the grid. So place the x square tile in upper left-hand corner and arrange 6 unit tile in 2 rows and 3 columns in the lower right-hand corner. Now try to complete the rectangle with the x tile. Notice that only 5 x tile on the grid, which left out 2 tiles, so the arrangement is not correct. Right? So they said we need to rearrange the unit tile so that all of the 7x tile fit on the mat. B. Arrange and draw the algebra tiles on the grid. Place the 1 x squared tile in the upper left-hand corner and arrange the 6 unit tiles in 2 rows and 3 columns in the lower right-hand corner. Try to complete the rectangle with x tile. Notice that only the x tile fit on the grid, which left 2 tiles. Oh, this is the same one as before. Let's go on to the next one. Part B, complete the multiplication grid by placing factor tile on the sides. Then rewrite the factor model in this product. Okay, so this is the same example that I showed you before. Okay, and F. Now, let's look at how to factor a quadratic expression with a negative constant term. Using algebra tile to factor an x squared plus x minus 2, identify the tile needed to model the expression. Right? So then here we have an x squared plus x and a -2. So then they want us to place the x squared tile in the upper left and then arrange the 2 negative unit tile in the lower right hand corner. Fill in the empty space of the grid with the x tile. There is 1 positive x tile. Okay, placed in the grid, so then there will be 2 empty space left. So then 2 empty space, well here we need to add a 0, right? So we see that instead of adding a 0 is the same as a -1 plus a 1. So this is the same as a 0. Right? Okay, so notice that we have a positive 1x and a negative 1x. So that's count as a 0. Okay, so complete the rectangle on the mat by using 0 pair. Add 1 positive x tile and 1 negative x tile to the grid in such a way that the factors work with all the tiles on the mat. Circle the mat showing the correct position of a unit pair or of the 0 pair. Right, so number 9 is in there, so then you see that complete the multiplication grid by placing the factor tile on the side, then write the factor model in this product. So inside we have x minus 1 and going across and x plus 2. Okay, right, and then so for the reflections, and we're not in class, we're going to give you the question and the answers. Right? Are there any other way to factor the polynomial x squared plus 7x plus 6 besides the quantity of x plus 6 times the quantity of x plus 1? Right, so the answer is no. 2 by 3 is also checked. Okay. Well, okay, another way is that some of us might think that it must be in this order, right? Or we can write an x plus 1 times an x plus 6 is still correct, right? So we know that multiplication is associative. Okay, number 2, discussion. If c is positive in x squared plus bx plus c, what sign can the constant term of the factor have? Okay, what about when c is negative? So the answer is that if c is positive, then both factors are positive or both factors are negative. So that means that, let's say for example, we have a positive 3. This is the same as 1 times 3 or a negative 1 times a negative 3. So it still gives us a 3. If c is a negative, the factor have opposite signs. So for example, if we have a negative 5, that means that the positive 1 times a negative 5 or a negative 1 times a positive 5. Okay? Let's go on to number 11. Example 1. Solving equation of the form x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So this is called our quadratic equation. Right. So here we say that solve this equation by factoring. Check your answer by graphing. Right. So by graphing, say you got at home, you have to use decimal as your graph. Okay. So we have the equation x squared minus ax equal to negative 2. But then remember that our form is in this form, right? So that means that we need to rewrite our equation in terms of x squared minus ax equal to negative 12 by adding 12 to both sides. So then our equation is going to be x squared minus ax plus 12 equal to 0. So from here we can factor. Remember that. So then our a is 1, b is negative 8, and c is a positive 12. Right? So we say that the expression x squared minus ax plus 12 is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, with b is less than 0 and c is greater than 0, so the factor will have the same sign and they both will be negative. Okay, so the factor for 12 could be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 12, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 6, or plus or minus 3, or plus or minus 4. And the sum must be a negative 8, so then the only one that works is a negative 2 and a negative 6. Right? And some of you are familiar with the x. That means that we need a 12 and a negative 8, right? So then the only two possible factors are negative 2 and negative 6. So then we write our factor pair x minus 2, parenthesis x minus 6, and it's equal to 0. So we said either x minus 2 equal to 0 or x minus 6 equal to 0. And then we solve for x, so x equal to 2 or x equal to 6. Okay, on to our next one. Right, so as I said before, you are at home, so you must use decimal.com to verify your answers, right, or the 0. So when you said that to verify the 0, that means that we're looking for the x-intercept. Right, so this is when the graph crosses the x-axis. Okay, so here is the graph, right? So if you look at the graph, we have this point here, x equal to 2, and we also have this point here, x equal to 6, right? And it's called the x-intercept of the graph. Okay, number 15, so let's try example B. We have x squared minus 2x equal to 15. So then we need to write the equation in this form. So then we need to bring the 15 over to here. So we have an x squared minus 12x minus 15 equal to 0. Right? So if you look at that, since c is less than 0 and b is also less than 0, the factor with the greater absolute value will be a negative. So the factor for negative 15 is either plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 15, plus or minus 3, and plus or minus 5. Right? So we need b to be a negative 2. So the only combination that works is a positive 3 and a negative 5. Right? Or are you familiar with x? So you can write this as negative 15 and a negative 2. So the only one that works is a positive 3 and a negative 5. Okay? Right, so then our factor is x plus 3 times x minus 5 equal to 0. So you said x plus 3 equal to 0. You solve for it, so x equal to negative 3. X plus 5, oh, my mistake. X minus 5 equal to 0. Solve for it, so x is equal to 5. Okay. Now, if you have a graphing calculator at home, you may graph and see on a graphing calculator. So if you are to graph using a graphing calculator at home, you would go to this function, y equal to 0, and you need to reset your window. And once you reset your window, you can hit graph. Right? And then once you hit graph, you can see the graph and find out where the 0 is. Okay, there's two ways. One is that you can do a trace to see where the 0 is, or you can do second and do the calculation and look for the 0 of the function. Okay, but I think if you use decimal, it's much easier. Or you just click on where the 0 is, and we'll give you the answers. All right, let's go on to our next one. Okay, so we're not in classroom, so you may not have a graphing calculator, right? So then use decimal. Okay, so can everybody try this out, and then I'll come up with the answer in a minute. Okay, so for number 4, write it in quadratic form. So x squared plus 15x plus 54 equal to a 0. Right? So then the factor for 54 either plus or minus 1, plus or minus 15, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 18, and plus or minus 6, or plus or minus 9. And we see that 6 plus 9 give us 15. So this is 54 and this is 15, so 6 and 9. So then the factor form, so x plus 6 times x plus 9 equal to 0. Solve for x. So x equal to negative 6. X equal to negative 9. Right? Okay, let's try number 5. Okay, then the value for C is a positive 12 and B is negative 13. That means that both factors must be a negative. Right? So this gives us x minus 1 and x minus 12 equal to 0. Solve for, so x equal to positive 1 or x equal to positive 12. Okay, let's go on to number 6. Okay, so if you look at the C value is a negative 56 and the V value is a negative 1, okay, that means that our factor must be a plus and a minus, right? So the factor for 56 is a positive 7 and a negative 8, right? Or you can have written as negative 8 and a positive 7, still give you the same answers. Okay. Okay, so can I have you guys try this out? Okay, I'll give you guys a minute, right? Or copy down the problem first and then work it out, and then I'll give you the answer in a minute, right? So you may not finish all 3 through 11. Notice that we just want to factor. We don't want you guys to solve for it yet, right? Okay, so you guys can continue with 6 through 11. Right? So here are the answers. Okay, and so this is the video, so you guys can pause, go back and forth anytime. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so can you guys try these out? Remember that they must be in this form, right? ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, and so we don't have a c here, we can factor an x. So the key is x minus 5 equal to 0. So either x equal to 0 or x equal to positive 5. Right? Okay, and as I said before, this is a video, so you guys can pause, go back and forth, and work on number 14 through 17, right? And then check your answers. Okay, so here are the answers. Okay, so that's the end of the lesson for 8.1. So then your assignment is to work on page 238, number 1 through 15 odds, and you also have your first HRW, right? It's on 18.1. It's set number 10, but you do as much as you can. Okay, also copy down 8.1 day 2 notes.